My name is Ada Polla. I'm the CEO of Alchimie Forever Skincare, and I'm so excited to be able to share some content with you for Spa Standard. I wanted to talk today about how, as a spa owner or spa manager, you should pick your vendors, your product partners. I'm a skincare vendor, so I'm speaking about it a little bit more from the skincare perspective, but most of what I will share with you today is applicable to body products and other types of supplies for your spa. And it is a question that I get quite often from spa managers who I've been working with for a number of years who are looking to update their assortment. So the first thing to think about, I think, is what are your guests, what are your consumers looking for? And is the demand for something new coming from them? Or is it coming from your estheticians? Or is it coming from your higher powers, perhaps your general managers? If the need for something new is coming from your guest, I always recommend that you actually speak to your guest in much detail about what it is they feel is lacking. Perhaps you only offer products at a certain price point and they are looking for something a little bit more approachable. Perhaps they feel that your product assortment is extremely ethical in the sense of organic products or very sustainably grown products, and they're looking for something a little bit more results oriented. Or perhaps they feel that you have a great assortment for a younger skin type that worked for them perhaps 5 years ago, and they'd like something a little bit more nourishing, a little bit more adequate for a drier skin type. So I think identifying what is driving your consumer's desire for something new is important. A lot of times, more than guests' preference, it's actually esthetician preferences that seem to be driving the need for new product. And need, perhaps, should be in quotes. Estheticians like the lines that they like. They, however, also sometimes get bored and want to try something new. If you've had new estheticians join your spa team, they are probably coming with their own preferences and maybe encouraging you to look at lines that they're familiar with and have worked with in the past. Again, I would encourage you to look at your product assortment as a whole and figure out where are the real gaps. So the first question before how do you pick a vendor is why are you looking for a new vendor? Of course, perhaps you're opening a new property, in which case you have a completely blank canvas and you can decide on your product assortment based on the expectations of your future guests and based on budget. I think in general, a couple rules of thumb, perhaps, that are good to keep in mind is that most spas that I see work extremely successfully have between 3 and 5 skincare lines or retail lines. That includes makeup actually or body care. I think under 3 is sometimes challenging to be able to offer everything for all your guests, whether product category, so skincare or makeup, or skin type, oily and dry, maybe a men's line. So between 3 and 5 product lines is good. Above 5 tends to become a little bit confusing from an inventory management standpoint, also a little bit confusing for your guest and sometimes for your therapist. So let's say you've decided that you need 2 new skincare vendors. You've identified the specific needs, you've spoken to your aesthetics team, you've spoken to your guests. What are some things to think about? I think thinking about the price point is important. I always like to recommend offering a few different lines at a few different price points so that you can appeal to a broad majority of your guests. While someone might be willing to invest $150 in the moisturizer, perhaps her daughter would prefer something a little bit more approachable. So think about the price point. Think about what you're trying to achieve. So is this a line something that is complementing an existing line, so you need something for a younger skin type? Or is this something that is in addition to? The level of support that will be provided by your vendor partner is key, and I know that that is something that is tantamount in the mind of various spa managers that I've spoken to. So think about support, not only in the initial, let's say, honeymoon phase, but think about support down the line. Continuing education is absolutely important because you know you'll be bringing in some new estheticians. Support in terms of marketing materials, perhaps a loyalty program so you can earn points for your merchandising and marketing materials and not have to have that come out of your budget is something to look forward to. Something else to look for is the exclusivity of distribution. So perhaps that doesn't matter to you, but it is something to look at up front. And again, of course, price point. I would say recommendations from other spa professionals are key in terms of if you really don't know where to start, ask spa managers that you know, that you respect. Who have they had experiences with? Who have they had great partnerships with as vendors? Who have they had less than stellar partnerships with? As is true for our guests, word of mouth really is powerful. And then of course also think of your previous relationships. If you're opening a new spa and managed a previous spa and had some great relationships with some skincare or body or makeup vendors, use those relationships and bring them along into your new spa. Finally, and again, I have the perspective of a vendor when I say this, I think that the most important thing, and this is true in a spa manager or skincare vendor relationship or in a husband and wife relationship or really in any type of relationship, be extremely open with your expectations. So make sure that you share with your spa manager or with your vendor what it is that is important to you. You don't want her to open an account down the street, perhaps. You want to make sure that you get additional training for your estheticians, perhaps more than the contract might offer. You don't want a contract, you just want a purely business relationship. Make sure that you're mostly completely open with those expectations, and that will help to set up a very successful relationship between you and your vendors.